ICE didn't start abusing immigrants when Trump took office. No, this has been going on for years. The only change is the escalation. In 2007, ICE showed up at Jorge's door, not to arrest him, but to arrest someone else. They lied, claiming they were looking for someone else, a tactic they've used time and time again. Jorge, confused and scared, gave himself up. His only crime, being there without the right paperwork. In that moment, he handed over his life to them, hoping that complying would bring him safety. But safety never came. Jasmine, his daughter, talks about it like it was yesterday. "Can you imagine Gestapo just banging on your fucking door?" she says. In her words, you feel the weight of the fear she felt. The fear of losing her father. The fear that's now ingrained in every immigrant community. Every family that lives in constant terror of that knock at the door. Her childhood was consumed by unrelenting pain. A pain that followed her everywhere. She didn't see the moment her father was taken, but it didn't matter. It might as well have been happening in front of her. The terror still crept inside her, gnawing at her every day, long after the night ICE knocked on their door. "I didn't tell anyone when my dad got deported. It broke my heart to pieces," Jasmine said. The silence she carried after her father's deportation was more than just the weight of unspoken words. It was the weight of a child who felt like she had to hide her heartbreak, who couldn't show the world the pieces of herself that ICE had broken. For 18 months, Jorge was held in detention. A year and a half away from his family, from everything he knew. And in those 18 months, ICE did not just take his freedom. In the end, they took his life. Jorge, living with HIV since the 90s, had been managing his condition with medication. But ICE made sure he would not receive it. They withheld the very medication that kept him alive. "They want them to die," Jasmine says. Her words charged with anger and the cold truth that her father's suffering wasn't a mistake. It was deliberate because ICE knew and they didn't care. Jorge's condition deteriorated and his body, now weakened, was sent back to Mexico. They just dropped him off at a border town. No money, nothing. His daughter Jasmine recalls. And you can hear the anger in her voice. She is not just remembering a broken system. She's calling it out for what it is. A system that let her father die. A system that doesn't care who it leaves behind. Jorge, already broken by ICE's neglect, made his way to his family's village south of Guadalajara. He was weak, his immune system destroyed, and soon, he contracted pneumonia, a sickness that for most people is treatable. But for Jorge, it was a death sentence. He had no chance, and within a year, he was gone. He died of AIDS complications, Jasmine says in tears. He contracted pneumonia and had no immune system left. Her only peace is knowing she was able to visit him in Mexico before he died. And in that visit, she got to see the real beauty of Mexico. Her family's culture, heritage, and life. But remember that it didn't have to be this way, and Jorge didn't have to die. HIV is manageable in the US, and with the right medication, you can live a long and meaningful life. Jasmine reminds us, people like Magic Johnson, they're still alive, and my dad could still be alive. And that's the cold truth of it. Jorge's death wasn't inevitable. It was preventable, but ICE didn't care. They never cared. Jasmine's voice carries a strength that should not be ignored. This is not about one administration. It's about a system. And she's right. This isn't just about Trump. It's not just about the Bush administration, Obama, or Biden. It's about a system that has been complicit for years. A system that has ignored the suffering of immigrants for decades, regardless of the party in power. She is done with silence. She is done with watching the government tear families apart. "We are seeing our families detained in concentration camps," she says. And there is no denying the truth of her words. This is not just a matter of policy. This is about lives being destroyed. This is about families being torn apart. This is about a system that has been allowed to continue unchecked, year after year. And Jasmine will not stop. "My dad might be gone, but there's still time to save so many others," she says. The strength in her voice is palpable, the anger undeniable. This has been happening for a long motherfucking time. What are we going to do? That's the question we must all answer. Resist,